With the recent announcement of the Whoniverse, it has definitely caused some worry amongst Doctor Who fans with its pure similarities to the MCU. For many Marvel fans, the MCU has been on a decline for the past few years, and naturally, we do not want that to happen to Doctor Who. As someone who has loved Marvel for years, I thought I would give you my opinions on the situation and tell you 5 things that the Whoniverse needs to do to not follow that trajectory. With that all said, let's get straight into the main bulk of this video. Now, the first thing it has to do is take its time. It may sound silly, as Russell T Davies is way ahead of schedule, already filming Shooting Out with 2nd season when we haven't even seen David Tennant return in the 60th, but at the same time, I think the high quality has to remain across all shows that are made. With the Whoniverse now being established and Disney only getting projects made from here on out, I don't want them to get pumped out as soon as possible just because of that. Especially if Russell writes every single one of these shows, he'll just get spread out way too thin. We don't want that to happen. It'll almost create that situation like with Moffat when he was writing Sherlock and Doctor Who, as I heard many behind the scenes issues happen because of that, and I just don't think we want that going into a new era. Now, the second thing I think it has to do is build the characters in Doctor Who first before they get their own TV show. I'm not sure if that's a controversial take or not, but I just don't want shows randomly popping up in the Whoniverse that weren't branched out from it. As Doctor Who is the central show to the Whoniverse, I can't see anyone watching another show within the Whoniverse without also watching Doctor Who at the same time, so I think every single show made should stem from the main show, if that makes sense. Unlike the MCU, it has a definitive central character with the Doctor, and I think it will always be that way. It's never not going to be that way, and I think they should play off of that. I think the spin-off should just purely be made based off of events and things that happen from within the mainline show, rather than just go, oh, here's a spin-off with a Pating because we've seen them once. I love the Pating, but I don't want that. I have never personally watched Class, but I'm pretty sure the only connection it actually has to Doctor Who is the fact that it's set in Coal Hill School, and I know we have the connection with Clara and Susan from the classics. I just don't think that's a big enough driving factor. I feel like that could be one of the reasons why Sarah Jane Adventures and Torchwood had many seasons, and those really did succeed when you compare it to Class that got cancelled after season 1. I think it is just not having that connection built already. Now, this third point kind of ties in with the last, and it is to actually have a plan. And by this, I mean I just don't want to see spin-offs popping up and appearing for the sake of having a spin-off. Like I said earlier, because Disney Plus are now involved and they're only going to be getting the new content, I really don't want them just pumping out shows for the sake of it. But also, if they are pumping out shows for the sake of it, I need them to have either a purpose existing or at least a really strong premise that can keep the show going. And I said those 2 things because I'm actually fine with shows not directly connecting back to Doctor Who as long as they are good in their own right. And vice versa, I'm fine with shows connecting back into Doctor Who as long as it again has a purpose and it actually works well with the story. It's not just a tie-in cameo for the sake of having everyone in the Whoniverse together at once. It's one of the main issues I have personally with the current MCU, the fact that everything just seems to be made for the sake of being made. We have so many new shows coming out so quickly, they never seem like they actually have a purpose being there, at least not yet, and I think it makes it really hard to stay invested in a universe when that's the case. Now, this could sound really stupid to many people, but my 4th point is to actually make proper TV shows. Like, I literally cannot stand Marvel's take on the whole TV show thing, where they make a few 6-episode miniseries, send it out, that's it, done, and they never return to it again. I love TV shows more than movies, and when Marvel announced that they were going to be having TV shows connect with the movies now, I was so excited, and then almost every single one dragged out for so long and almost just felt like an elongated movie, and not in a good way. As the spin-offs from the 2000s that Russell T Davies made originally were full-made TV shows, I have faith that it will be that still, because it's the same guy making it. But it was revealed about a year ago that Disney did have a hand in Marvel's speed of output with the shows, and I'm hoping that doesn't happen with this because I think it will really diminish everything about the Whoniverse. Now, the 5th point you might not agree with, but I really don't want to see a spin-off about the Doctor. Recently, there are many articles claiming the 8th Doctor, Paul McGann, was going to be in a spin-off series, and don't get me wrong, I would love to see that happen. I think he deserves way more time than he got, but I think it would really take away from the new incarnation later this year. I love this show so much, and I would love having practically 2 seasons of the show yearly. It would be so good, but at the same time, I think it would just ruin the longevity of the show having 2 run in parallel. It seems like Russell T Davies and Disney are going with the clean slate approach for this new era, so I don't think having 2 shows running at the same time on Disney Plus, where one is for the new fans, one are for the old fans, would really work for getting new viewers. I think it would only add to the confusion. I also personally think it ruins the magic of regeneration. Every incarnation has a set amount of time on this show, and I think doing this would literally mean that any of them could come back at any time, and it would just take away from their time on the show completely. Now, I would love myself more seasons with Capaldi, like 100%, but if they announced he was getting his own spin-off show, I think it would just take away from the emotion of his departure, and I don't want that to happen. And also, I feel like it would make his era less special at that point. As someone who's been a fan for the MCU for years, I am so excited for the future of Doctor Who. I definitely think the MCU style of universe can work for the show, and I think it's going to be great. With Russell T Davies' experience with already trying this in the 2000s, I'm sure he will do a great job anyway, and it can really be something special. They even have the luxury of learning from these other shared universe franchises that have came before them, and I think this era could truly be the best the show has ever had, which is nothing but exciting. Unfortunately, that is all I have for today, but hopefully you've enjoyed hearing my thoughts on the Whoniverse. Now, I would love to know yours, so make sure you drop a comment down below and maybe even list some spin-off ideas you do have. I'd be really interested in seeing what other people think. If you have made it this far, I'm probably right in assuming you like Doctor Who or even love Doctor Who, so why not check out my video where I say my top 10 David Tennant 10th Doctor stories. I can almost guarantee my list is nothing like yours, so I'm sure I will entertain you as much as this video has. And thank you for watching.